The revelation, the morning sun, cast long shadows across the marble floors of Victoria Sterling's penthouse office, its rays catching the awards and accolades that lined her walls like trophies of a well-fought war. At 38, she had transformed Sterling Industries from a modest tech startup into a global powerhouse specializing in digital security solutions. Her company protected the privacy of millions, an irony that would soon become painfully apparent. Victoria stood at her floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city wake up 40 stories below. Her reflection stared back at her sharp cheekbones, auburn hair pulled into an elegant chignon.
Oh.
Wearing a tailored charcoal suit that commanded respect in every boardroom she entered. The Wall Street Journal had recently featured her on their cover with the headline, "The Guardian of Digital Privacy," calling her the most influential woman in cybersecurity. Her morning routine was sacred. Coffee at 6. Market reports at 6:15. Team briefings at 7. Everything in Victoria's life operated with clockwork precision, a necessity when managing a company worth $3 billion. Her assistant Nicole had already placed the usual stack of documents on her glass desk, arranged with military precision next to her still warm coffee. But this morning, something was different. Her phone, usually silent except for scheduled calls, vibrated insistently against the leather desk pad. Victoria glanced at it with mild annoyance, expecting perhaps an urgent message from her European offices. Instead, the screen showed a cascade of notifications, texts, emails, social media alerts, appearing faster than she could process them. 40-3 missed calls, 112 unread messages, 736 social media notifications. Victoria's analytical mind immediately shifted into crisis mode. A data breach? A hostile takeover attempt? She grabbed her phone with steady hands, her expression remaining composed even as her pulse quickened. The first message was from Nicole, sent just minutes ago. "Mrs. Sterling, please call me immediately.
Ace.
There's a situation developing." The second message contained only a link to an Instagram post. Victoria clicked it and her world tilted on its axis. The post belonged to Celeste Rivers, a lifestyle and beauty influencer with 4.2 million followers. Victoria recognized the name vaguely. Celeste had attended a few charity galas, always photographed in designer gowns with different prominent men. What she didn't recognize was the man in the first image, his face buried in Celeste's neck as they kissed passionately on what appeared to be a private yacht. It took her a full 3 seconds to realize she was looking at her husband of 11 years, Marcus. The caption beneath the photo read, "Sometimes the heart wants what it wants, even when it's complicated." 1 year of stolen moments, secret getaways, and a love that refuses to be contained. No more hiding. Hashtag true love, hash worth it, hashtag new chapter. Victoria's coffee grew cold as she scrolled through the carousel of images. Marcus and Celeste at a restaurant. She recognized the same one where she and Marcus had celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary just 6 months ago. Another showed them in what was unmistakably the guest bedroom of their Hamptons estate, Celeste wearing nothing but one of Marcus's shirts, her perfectly manicured fingers running through his graying hair. The final slide was a video. Celeste spoke directly to the camera, her expression carefully crafted to appear vulnerable, yet defiant. "I know this will hurt people, and I'm truly sorry for that pain. But Marcus and I have been hiding our connection for over a year now, and we deserve to be happy. Sometimes love means making the difficult choices, even when the timing isn't perfect." He's been struggling in his marriage for years, feeling unappreciated and disconnected. "What we have is real and it's beautiful, and I won't apologize for fighting for it." Victoria set the phone down with deliberate care, her movements controlled despite the hurricane building inside her chest. Her mind, trained by years of corporate crisis management, was already several steps ahead. She thought of the 11 years she'd shared with Marcus, how he'd initially been her business partner before his own tech company had failed spectacularly. She remembered the gradual shift from partnership to dependence, his increasing resentment as her success overshadowed his struggles, the late-night networking events, the weekend conferences that seemed to multiply, The defensive responses when she asked simple questions about his schedule. She'd suspected something was wrong, but had been too consumed by Sterling Industries' expansion into artificial intelligence to investigate properly, a mistake she wouldn't repeat. Her office door chimed softly, and Nicole entered with careful steps, her usually perfect composure showing cracks of genuine concern. "Mrs. Sterling, I've been monitoring the situation since 5 a.m., Nicole said, her voice steady but urgent. "The post has gone viral in the past 3 hours. Entertainment Tonight, TMZ, and Page 6 have all picked up the story. Our PR team is standing by for instructions." Victoria turned from the window, her expression betraying nothing of the storm raging within her. "What's the narrative they're pushing?" "The usual script," Nicole replied grimly. "You're being painted as the cold, career-obsessed wife who prioritized business over her marriage. Celeste is the passionate young woman who awakened his heart to what he'd been missing. There are already opinion pieces being drafted about work life, balance, and the cost of female ambition." A bitter laugh escaped Victoria's lips. Of course. The same tired story told 1,000 times before. A successful woman gets husband stolen by a younger, more attentive alternative. The public loved these narratives because they reinforced comfortable assumptions about what women could and should want. "And Marcus?" Victoria asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. Radio silence so far. "His phone is going straight to voicemail. But his publicist issued a brief statement 20 minutes ago, saying he'll be addressing the situation privately with his family before making any public comments." Victoria's phone began ringing. Aku's name appeared on the screen, accompanied by the photo they'd taken during their last vacation to Tuscany, both of them smiling, his arm around her waist. Unaware that their marriage was already crumbling, she declined the call. "Nicole, I need you to arrange 3 meetings immediately. First, get David Chen here within the hour," she said, referring to her longtime attorney who had handled everything from corporate mergers to intellectual property disputes. "Second, contact Rachel Torres at Aurora Investigations. Well, I need a comprehensive background analysis, and I need it fast. Third, clear my schedule for the rest of the day, of course. And Mrs. Sterling." Nicole paused at the door. "What should I tell the board?" "They'll want to know how this might affect the IPO announcement next month." Victoria straightened her jacket and moved back to her desk, her posture once again commanding and controlled. The initial shock was fading, replaced by the cold fury that had driven her to build an empire from nothing. "Tell them that Sterling Industries doesn't make business decisions based on tabloid gossip," she said evenly. "And Nicole, not a word to anyone about what we discussed today. This isn't just about my marriage, it's about something much more significant." As Nicole left to make the calls, Victoria remained alone with her thoughts and the evidence of her husband's betrayal glowing on her phone screen. Celeste Rivers had wanted to tell a love story to the world. Now Victoria was going to tell the truth. The game had begun. Victoria Sterling had never lost a game that mattered. Her phone buzzed again. Another call from Marcus. Again, she declined. There would be time for conversations later, after she understood exactly what she was dealing with. Celeste Rivers might have fired the opening shot. She had made one crucial mistake. She had underestimated the woman whose life she was trying to destroy. Victoria opened her laptop and began typing notes for the meetings. Ahead, if this was war, she intended to win it on her terms with her weapons. And by her rules. The city sprawled beneath her windows. Millions of people beginning their day unaware that one of the year's biggest stories was just beginning to unfold. 40 stories. Above them, the conference room at Pulse Media hummed with tension. Sophia sat at the head of the table, her fingers steepled, watching as her team assembled the pieces of Lena Carter's carefully constructed life. Carlos Ruiz, her head of digital forensics, clicked through a slideshow of Lena's social media history. She's rebranded herself 3 times in the past 5 years, he said, zooming in on a timeline. Started as a fitness guru, pivoted to luxury travel, then settled on relationship. Authenticity right around the time she began dating men with high-profile connections. Eva Torres, Sophia's sharp-eyed investigative editor, slid a dossier across the table. Her last boyfriend was a tech CEO. Right after their breakup, she landed a 7-figure endorsement deal with his competitor. Sophia's jaw tightened. This wasn't just an affair, it was a pattern, a business model. The door opened, and Dante Morales stepped in, his presence immediately shifting the energy in the room. Tall, with ink-black hair and a perpetually unreadable expression, he was Pulse Media's best investigative journalist. He'd been away for months, digging into a corruption scandal in Eastern Europe, but Sophia had called him back personally. "For this? You're late," she said, though she'd known he would be. Dante never rushed. He dropped into the chair beside her, his knee brushing hers under the table in accident, maybe. Had to verify something. He tossed a file in front of her. Alina's been meeting with Nexus Media executives for months. Signed a development deal with them 3 weeks ago. Sophia flipped it open. A reality show proposal. Dating up follow. Influencers as they climb the social ladder through love. Her stomach turned. So this was never about Jason, Eva muttered. "No," Sophia said softly. "It was about me." Jason called again that night. Sophia let it ring, staring at the ceiling of her now empty penthouse. She'd changed the locks, sold the Hamptons house, erased every trace of him. Her phone buzzed with a text. "I didn't know she'd do this. Please, let me explain." She didn't respond. Instead, she poured a glass of whiskey and opened Dante's full report. Buried in the footnotes was a detail that made her freeze. Lena had accessed Jason's private cloud storage. The photos she'd posted, they'd been stolen. A knock at her office door. Dante leaned against the frame, 2 coffees in hand. "You're still here? I could say the same to you." He set 1 cup in front of her. "You should sleep." She scoffed. "All right, because that's going so well." For the first time, Dante's mask slipped just a flicker of concern. "You're not in this alone, Sophia." The air between them thickened. She looked away first. "I know." The article went live at dawn. By 7 a.m., Pulse Media's servers were struggling under the traffic. The headline was clinical, devastating. The algorithm of affection. How influencers monetize intimacy. No direct accusations, just facts. Lena's deleted tweets, her contract clauses with Nexus Media, financial records showing her sponsorship income spiking after each high-profile relationship, and the damning detail, the unauthorized access to Jason's private photos. Sophia stood by her office window, watching the sun rise over the city. Her hands were steady, but her pulse roared in her ears. Maria burst in. Lena's team just canceled her Good Morning America interview. 2 of her sponsors have paused partnerships pending review of values alignment. A muscle twitched in Sophia's jaw, and Jason lawyered up. His PR firm is pushing a narrative that he was manipulated. Pathetic. The door clicked open. Dante stood there, his usual calm replaced by something sharper. "You need to see this." On his tablet, Lena's tearful Instagram live played. "This is a witch hunt. I'm just a girl who fell in love." The comments were a Warzone hashtag Team Lena versus hashtag she played herself. Sophia muted it. She pivoted to victimhood. Expected. Dante stepped closer. "There's more. Nexus Media is scrambling. Rumor is they're dropping her show." A knock interrupted. Them, Eva breathless. "Jason's here. Security's holding him in the lobby, but he's let him up." Sophia's voice was ice. Jason looked hollow. The charming smile that had once disarmed her was gone, replaced by red-rimmed eyes and shaking hands. "Sophia." He reached for her. She stepped back. "You gave her access to our home, our bed. It wasn't like that. Was it the money?" she interrupted, "or just the ego boost?" His face crumpled. "She said she loved me." Sophia laughed. The sound. "Jagged? And you believed her? 25-year-old who dated a billionaire, a senator's son, and now you?" Jason flinched. For the first time, she saw the dawning horror that he'd been a pawn. Dante cleared his throat from the doorway. "We have a problem." On his phone, a daily gossip alert, Pulse Media CEO's secret meltdown exclusive photos. Sophia's stomach dropped. There she was, crumpled on her office floor at 3 a.m., whiskey in hand. "Last night, Jason paled. I didn't get out." Her voice cracked like a whip. The lawsuit hit before noon. Lena's legal team filed a defamation claim against Pulse Media. demanding a retraction and $10 million in damages. The press ate it up. Headlines blared influencer fights back as paparazzi swarmed Sophia's building. She ignored them, scrolling through the complaint in her office. Dante leaned over her shoulder, his warmth a steady contrast to the cold fury tightening her chest. "They have nothing," he murmured. Every fact was verified. Sophia tapped a line in the document. But this is new. Lena claimed Sophia had orchestrated a smear campaign, out of jealousy, and cited Jason's leaked photos as proof of her unstable vendetta. Maria rushed in. "Jason's PR firm just released a statement. They're implying you leaked the meltdown. Photos to control the narrative." Dante's hand brushed Sophia's wrist. "Breathe." She didn't realize she'd been gripping her pen hard enough to crack the plastic. That night, Sophia sat alone in her apartment, the city lights blurring through unshed tears. The doorbell rang. Dante stood there, holding a bottle of wine and a USB drive. Two things you need. The drive contained footage from Nexus Media's offices. Lena, laughing with executives about playing the heartbroken heroine for ratings. Dante had gotten it from a source. Sophia exhaled shakily. "You could lose your press credentials for this." He poured the wine.
"Worth it?"
Their fingers touched on the glass. The air between them hummed. Then her phone buzzed a notification for Lena's latest post. A selfie with Jason, captioned, "Real love survives the storm." Sophia's laugh was bitter. "She's doubling down." Dante took her hand. "Time to rewrite the script." Scene builds as Sophia records a raw, unscripted video addressing the scandal not as a CEO, but as a woman betrayed. The team debates the risks. Ends with her clicking upload, whispering, "Truth doesn't need a filter." Cut to black. The video went viral in under an hour. No makeup, no teleprompter, just Sophia Castillo, sitting in her office with the city lights behind her, speaking directly into the camera. "My name is Sophia. Not the CEO, not the scorned wife, just a woman who trusted the wrong person." She didn't mention Lena or Jason by name. Instead, she talked about betrayal, how it stains everything, how the world expects women to swallow their anger and smile. "But silence protects the wrong people," she said, holding up the USB drive. "So here's the truth." She released the Nexus Media footage. By morning, the tide had turned. Lena's sponsors abandoned her. The lawsuit was dropped. Jason's PR firm issued a vague apology about miscommunication. Sophia sat in her office, exhausted but calm, watching the fallout on mute. Dante leaned against her desk, arms crossed. "You won," he said. She shook her head. "The truth won. There's a difference." He studied her. "What now?" For the first time in months, Sophia smiled. "Now we build something better." 1 year later, the Truth Foundation Gala shimmered with champagne and purpose. Sophia moved through the crowd, pausing to greet journalists and donors. Across the room, Dante laughed with a group of reporters. Their eyes met. A silent understanding passed between them, no labels, no drama, just two people who'd fought their way to something real. Later on the rooftop, he handed her a glass of wine. 2 new beginnings. She clinked her glass against his. To the truth. The city stretched out before them, bright and endless, just like the future.